The apocalypse came and went. Humanity hit near extinction for a while. The US retreated back past the Mississippi to get away from the casualties, zombies. Then went and nuked Canada to make sure nothing came across up north. Now out here in the loss, somewhere west of the Mississippi. I don't know where. I sure don't pay attention to street signs no more. People hole up in these little enclaves. There's others out there who can tell you about what happened a lot better than I can. But I ain't here to tell you about the history of this place. I'm just here to tell you a little slice of history from a little slice of the loss. It's a story about home. It used to be a big box hardware store. Half the sign's gone now. The guys that went and set the place up wanted to advertise what this place was gonna be. They cleared out the casualties. They set up the fences outside and little walls inside for people to live in. They brought in fencemen like me to keep the casualties from piling up over time and climbing on over the fences. We fought. We killed. Some of us died. But that ain't the story I'm here to tell either. See, after things quieted down a little, the casualties took casualties. The place nearby got real scarce on material, and people started heading out further, taking things from the ruins. Takers. Here at home, we got a few groups of takers. Some of them, like lawn and garden, are kind of like gangs. Some of them operate more like businesses. And there's a couple of real messy little groups. Just a few idiots trying to make it big. Trying to retire and head anywhere else. That's what this story's about. It's about the best in town. See, home's got a pretty strict rule on working. You work 60 hours a week. That's your rent. You paid the community. You don't gotta leave the enclave and find somewhere else to live. Now that might work for some people, but some of us ain't able to work. I got a sister, Teresa. She's blind. She ain't working 60 fucking hour work weeks here on account of it. And that's my fault. And she's all I got left, so I gotta pay for both of us. And then we got Perjamal. Black math cult freak. He's out here risking his neck for some grumpy old man named Tallgrass. Some ex-taker that kept an eye on Purge when he was younger. We got Scorch, running his own little restaurant in a world where nice food ain't something you can make a living off of. So he's got to pay his waitstaff somehow. We got Colin, keeping his mom, his kid, and his best friend safe. Finally, we got Breach, working to hang on to his dog, Clear. We're a mess of a group, but we get shit done. We ain't called the best in town for no reason. So this particular mess. We'd all had a rough week. Cash was running short, and the 5 of us needed a paycheck to keep the lights on, and for me at least, Teresa was having some trouble with bullies at school. I sure as hell wasn't having none of that. I got her a pipe from plumbing and tried to showing her how to use it. She might not win a fight, but as long as they pick on someone else, right? Of course, it didn't work. And I owed money on that pipe. Colin went off to find us a job. Any job at all. He found us a mess. So, a guy by the name of Ronald. He wants us to check out some abandoned elementary school. Schools, they're not in high demand out here in the loss. Carrion economy don't care much about old, rotted-out textbooks. This guy, though, he says he's open to build up a way station. Just wants to get something between us and the next enclave over for a little bit of safer trading. No such thing as safe, but hey, if you got a place to stop, it'll make life easier. The negotiations on the job didn't go our way. We did what we could. We spread some rumors. We dug up some dirt. Hell, we even brought Clear into the negotiation room. Try and play on a little animal sympathy. All we got was a promise of 3 bounty. 3 fucking bounty is enough to keep one of us out of the gutter. That's about it. Ain't enough to support a family. Ain't enough to get your gear in shape. And poverty's scarier than the goddamn casualties. So we take the job. 3 bounty ain't much, but we can scavenge along the way. If we're lucky, clear out a few casualties, we can take a few bounty off the corpses to bring back. And you know what? It was better than chasing after rumors of some score that might not even exist. The trip wasn't off to a good start. See, we came across some upturned van, right? It's beaten to shit, but it's mostly intact. Looks fresh. Just a few casualties crawling around it. Before we can even say a word, Purgemal just runs his ass right down that hill with a hammer in his hands, ready to bash some skulls. Fucking cultists, right? Anyway, dude beats a few in. I set out the first round because I ain't getting too close to those things. Purge might have a death wish, but I got a sister to feed. And the only way I'm taking them down without risking myself is just gonna bring another horde running down on our asses. I wait a bit. Colin pops a couple with his silenced handgun, and we move in. Then Purge gets his ass bit, and I clear out the last couple. Purge sure is lucky we don't just pop him in the head after a bite now. Casualty bites take a while to bring a man down. We could complete the whole job and get him a blood test before he turned. So, we searched the truck. Lo and fucking behold, 10 whole crates of pure blight. This thing was some kind of DHQS transport truck on the way back to the recession. This shit could be valuable. Sure, some of the buyers were dangerous cultists, but if you pick carefully, you can sell to some researchers. Even sell it back to the DHQS if you like. This shit, one way or another, had the job set. We thought about heading back, but we had a rep to look after. We moved on a bit further. Wasn't long before we ducked down an alley and the screaming started. We'd heard it before. I'd killed a few before, but it was always from the other side of a fence. Now? Well, I was face to face with a vector in a cramped alley. I could hear it screaming over and over, shouting that it was sorry for something. Looked like a former taker. Had to be a fresh turn. And I took the shot. It was all instinct. When you're on the fence, you just kinda learn where to aim when you see these things. My MG went up. Trigger pulled. Before I could blink. Before I could even think it was dead. Scorch lit it up with his flamethrower. Burn anything that was left to a crisp. Then we bolted before a horde could hear my gunshots. A lot of running later, and we were pretty exhausted. We took a short break to breathe. I got to talking with Purge. Asked him where he came from, before the crash. He says it doesn't matter much. Who he was a lot different than who he is. He was some dweeb in his basement, never went out, and didn't have no friends. Crash hit, he hid, and when he came out, he met Tallgrass. The old man was his neighbor. This was a few years ago. Even then, the guy was well into his 70s. Still, he pulled Purge's ass out of there, till the enclaves banded together, till there was shelter to run to. I promised Purge I'd get him back to the enclave. Get him a blood test, and, if he wasn't lucky, get him a dose of suppressant. Much as the stuff sucked, much as it would hurt, he wouldn't be a casualty. He could go on doing what he loved. Killing C's. We kept moving once we had our wits together again. Saw what we figured was another taker group. Made our way over. They weren't here for our job, of course, and a little friendly chat never hurt. 5 grown men, armed, 2 teens on a swing set nearby. We gave them a greeting. The guy with the big rifle watched us from the roof. They asked us all to take a blood test. Immune slavers. Well, none of us thought we were immune. It was a free blood test for Purge. We went up in a line. I was fine, so was Colin and Scorch. Breach showed up latent, but that didn't mean nothing. Those tests can only pick up 2 things accurately: infection and immunity. When Purge went up, it started beeping. Now, on the bright side, our friend wasn't going to turn and kill us. On the not-so-bright side, these friendly boys we'd found stood to gain 350 bounty just by grabbing him off of us and selling his bone marrow. Again, I was the first to act. You know what people sure don't think they're going to run into out in the loss? A demo man. When these guys started asking some not-so-pleasant questions, I reached into my bag of tricks and pulled out a couple of bricks of C4. Couple tosses in the air, a few idle threats, and they backed off. They had 2 cattle they could sell off already. They weren't risking their lives for one more. Much as we wanted to help those kids who didn't seem to know what was in store for them, we had people to look after already. Colin asked to borrow the man's specs to make a call. The man just wiped his account data off him, tossed them over to us. He'd get another pair when he got back into town. Colin used those specs to find us a buyer for our pure blight. We knew they were a good haul. We didn't realize they were 144 bounty good. Another block to go and we were there. Some rundown elementary school. The nameplate was long gone, and I didn't grow up around here. Battered up building. Looked like a lot of American schools before the crash hit. Around back we could see a pond. Now we'd bluffed about some clean water at the negotiating table for a better price. Guess that bluff was good enough to fool the school into playing along. Our mission wasn't the pond, though. Our mission was the building. We started with a ladder. Set it up, Purge climbed up to the window and took a look through. One big ol' horde of child casualties and what was once their gym teacher, probably. There was something weird about the teacher. Its skin was wrong. Purge didn't realize it until I was at the window for a look and got a whiff. Aerosol toxin. That thing was a fucking abomination, and those shitfucks are not what you fuck with. Those things are what make enclaves disappear. I went down the ladder. We had one plan in mind. Arm every charge in my goddamn bag and chuck him into the gym. I armed him. Purge stood on that ladder, hucking him through until the big room was ready to blow. We tossed in Colin's brand new specs, too. Set him to make some beeping noise to draw 'em all in. And then I hit the button. Every single one of those fuckers was bits and pieces, leaving us plenty of time to finish looking around. Breach found himself hard at work on the school buses. They wouldn't run long, but we didn't need reliable. All we needed was a ride home safe and sound, and something to carry us back so we weren't limping the whole way. We piled in our gear, our haul, and then we motored back home. All in all, things went pretty well. With the take split, we each had about 42 bounty to ourselves. After the job, the blight, and the water filters we got from the school, enough to see us through the week. Enough we could do a little better next week. Enough to put some away towards retirement. After all we'd been through, we needed a rest. And after all we'd been through, we had a reputation. We're the best in town. Thanks for tuning in to another tale as told by Cloak and Dagger Narrations. If you enjoyed the story, please feel free to show it with a like or a comment, and throw a subscription my way to hear more. Or, if you'd like to help support the channel and keep these stories going, you can consider flinging money wildly in the direction of my Patreon. Or, check the paypal.me link for a one-time money flinging opportunity. If you want something in return for your money flinging, apart from the sultry sounds of my voice, there's a Teespring link down in the description. Wear the logo and send more people here to join you in money flinging. Or, you can check the Drive-Thru RPG affiliate link to pick up some rulebooks and start making stories of your own. Thank you.